So the next slide here that you see, this is just illustrating here, okay, what would happen if the baseline was not 0. So this is just a small frequency table I made up, you know, real quickly, okay? Here we have it as 0, okay? Here we have it as something besides 0. And you can see how the graph is kind of distorted, right? You see the differences are more emphasized when it's not at 0. So I think I might have said the opposite, but what happens here is, before I might have said the opposite, that is, here, since it's not at 0, the differences are a lot more emphasized. So, okay, so really what I'm saying is when you make a graph like this, you always want to start the vertical axis at 0. That's what I'm saying. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's one. All right, so with that said, there is another example in the book. It had to do what's called a pictogram, which is basically a graphic, like a picture. I think they use a picture of a money bag in the book, bag of money that is. That's just there as another way to show data. I mean, if you're reading the book, which you should, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to go into it, though, for time consideration. I'm only going to focus on the examples I have here. So here's another example of what I want to do. So this one we're going to go through, I guess, all the steps, so to say. Okay? We're going to do all the steps. So basically here we have this frequency table, okay? You know, we survey 20 college students. We wanted to know what their favorite sport is, okay? I figured what we do is we make, you know, a relative frequencies table. We make a bar graph. We make a Pareto chart. Then we would also make a, you know, we go through all the stuff before so far. You know, this is, again, qualitative data. Okay, that's what this is, right? You know, with sports, you know, if you do football and soccer, if you average them, you're not going to get another sport. You know, you can't really do those kinds of calculations here. I figured it'd be good to go through making each of the graphs for this table, and I'll have you guys try one on your own. Okay. But first, though, remember, it's good to make a relative frequency table. In fact, that's what I'm asking you to do. So what we have here, you know, we have football, right? We saw the frequency is 5. Remember, there's 20 students that we in the sample, so the frequency should add up to 20. Okay, so this is what we get here. We have 5 over 20. Right? You know, again, you just add up and you just divide. You get the relative frequency. So we have 5 over 20, that's 25%. For soccer, we have 4 over 20, which is 20%, and so on. So that one's pretty straightforward. Okay? And as before, to get the graphs, right, what we want to do is type this data here into the first 2 columns in Google Sheets, and then you just go through the process, okay? You go through the process of making those charts. So, well, this is what you will get. Let me just go through that process, though, okay? So again, what I'm going to do is go back to Google Sheets again. Oh, bear with me. Okay, so let me just delete this, just to start fresh, so to say. Okay, let me delete this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to type in that data. So we have sport, we have football, soccer, we have baseball. So I'm typing in the data, right? So that's in there. Basketball, swimming. Now, let's, frequency. We don't need to type in the relative frequency. We don't need that when we're making these charts. So we have 5, 4, 4, 2, 4, 1, okay? Now, again, we have the data here, right? We're going to highlight, okay? Now, since we're going to make a Pareto chart, it's probably good. Well, actually, yeah, let's make a bar graph first. Sorry. But we still have to highlight. Okay. So then what we're going to do is go to Insert. We go to Chart. Okay. We don't want a pie chart yet. Let's do the bar graph first. That's what we get, as you can see. That's our bar graph. Okay. Good. Now, if we want to make another chart, okay, what we could do, we can leave this up here and go to Insert and go to Chart again. And we can actually get another graph here. So again, I went to Insert, and I went to clicked on Chart. It made another chart for me. But first, let me just delete this, because first we have to sort the data. You know, we have to do that in order to get a Pareto chart. Okay. So let me do that real quickly. So let me delete this though. And I have to. Okay. So to sort it, remember what you want to do is you want to click on the B frequency. You want to click and hold. Okay. Then scroll over to the other column. Go to data. Sort column B from Z through A. Right? It sorted it. Although we could have sorted it by hand if we really wanted to. It wouldn't have been that big a deal. There's not much data here. Not many, what do you call it? Not many rows here, that is. Now, we highlight again. Go to Insert. Go to Chart. Okay, and again, we want that bar chart again. See, now it's all sorted. So again, we can make those minor grid lines. We go to Customize. Go to Grid Lines. Minor grid lines. Okay. That's what we get here. And again, to make a pie graph, right? So we could make another chart. I mean, I'll keep this over here. Although it's all in the PowerPoint slide, so I'll keep it there anyway. We can go to Insert, go to Chart. And now, as you can see, it brought up a pie chart automatically. See, chart. Normally you go to chart type and then select pie graph, as you can see. And you can mess around with it a bit if you really wanted to. For instance, what I did was I went down to Customize. I went to Customize and went down to pie chart. On the label, I had it display this, values and percentages. Okay. And I went to Legend because I want to get rid of these. And I went to, it says auto. I went to, I went to right actually, like this. This is what I get. Maybe it's not the best because we really can't see what swimming is though, but the others are here. You can easily figure that out though. When we do all that, right? So I stop, I'm going to go back to the slides. We end up with these three. So we have the bar graph, we have the Pareto chart, and we have the pie chart here. You know, just different graphs you could make. All right, so I figured you guys will probably want to try this out. So it's 2 o'clock. Let me 5 minutes. So I want everyone to try and make this as well. I just changed the numbers a bit. It's the same thing. So I want everyone to try that out as well. So take about 5 minutes. Let me stop the recording.